Miracle on the Hudson. Remember that headline from about a decade ago? Well, now that story is hitting the big screen, and like any good story, it has an impossible situation and a hero.
Yeah, and the difference with that story is it was a true story, and we all know Hollywood loves a true story to tell. This is the case for the new movie Sully, and our resident movie critic gives us a preview of what you can expect. Take a look.
Texas 1549, runway 4, clear for takeoff.
Sully. Sully. Sully, where'd you go? Sully. Sully. Sully, where are you?
Well, Sully is thinking back to that fateful day, January 15th, 2009.
No one said you were going to lose both engines at a lower altitude than any jet in history. This was dual engine loss at 2,800 feet, followed by an immediate water landing with 155 souls on board. No one has ever trained for an incident like that.
Director Clint Eastwood and Tom Hanks pair up for the first time ever. They bring you the untold story of Captain Sully Sullenberg.
It's not a crash, it was a forced water landing.
Simulations showed that you could make it back to the airport.
Not possible. I felt it go. My aircraft. Your aircraft. I want you to know I did the best I could.
Of course you did. You saved everyone. People call you a hero.
I don't feel like a hero.
A hero who saved the lives of all 155 souls on board. And folks, those lives were on the line because of a flock of birds.
All those passengers.
I got an A320 diving for the rivet.
You did everything you could. It was more than enough. This is the captain. Brace for impact.
For Eastwood and Hanks, the story is hugely impactful, not just for what happened, but for when it happened.
There were 155 people on that plane.
It was right after, not too long after 9/11, and the economy was bad there at the time, and everybody was slightly on a depressed thing.
The last thing the world needed to see, and the last thing New York City wanted to experience, was a bunch of dead people against the skyline of New York City. They did not want to experience a moment where, guess what? Everything fell apart one more time. The opposite happened, which on one hand is something to celebrate, but the bullet dodged, I think, is why it has this emotional resonance.
Too low, terrain. Too low, terrain.
So you know what they were seeing? Another low-flying passenger airplane, you know, coming in at the level of the buildings of New York City. No one wanted to see that. No one wanted to see that again. And they did, and it turned out to be one of the best news stories of the decade.
A news story that was made possible by a man who some call the most courageous captain in the country. But what does he have to say about it?
Well, I'm not the best pilot in the world, but I think that day we were at our best. And we found a way to do something that we'd never done before and get it right the first time in 208 seconds.
Well, now you can go see an entire movie about those 208 seconds and the aftermath that followed as Sully's out in theaters today.
Now, it only took about 17 minutes for actor Tom Hanks to read that script, and he was on board.
Yeah, you know a good one when you read it, I guess, after so many. I bet he's read so many. All right, and Toni told me that it kind of gives you a surprising side to this true story, so it'll be an interesting look.
We heard the story of how the media portrays it, so it's kind of like a different side of the story.
Oh, the media. Those media people.
Right now, millions of students are settling in at college, but for many, being home away from home can also bring new temptations. Up next, the risk of drug abuse and how your kids can avoid addiction. Stay with us.